All right, I believe we are recording. We are live, so we are just setting up live on air. But thank you for joining us here on the Late Show at IPL Radio. How are you doing over there? I believe you're in New York in the US,
I am.
Robbie.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's a great day. So thank you so much. How are you doing?
Yeah, we're good. We're coming into winter here, so it's freezing here at the moment. But you guys are going into summer, so I imagine you're enjoying some lovely New York summer days.
Yes, it's been quite nice, so I can't complain. We had some of the hottest days on record a few days ago, and it was lovely. So, but it's always nice to switch up the weather a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got you on. You are a country singer-songwriter. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I believe you've been on IPL Radio before, but yeah, fill us in a little bit of your background.
Thank you. So my name is Robbie Harte. I'm a country singer-songwriter originally from Montreal, Canada. I currently live in New York. I moved out to New York quite some years ago to get married and start my life with my husband. And it was always my dream to be a singer, my lifelong dream to be a professional singer-songwriter. Unfortunately, I was badly injured almost 15 years ago while I was pregnant with my daughter, and I completely lost my ability to sing. Oh, wow. And for the first time in my entire life, my dream to sing had been completely taken off the table. And it was in a point in my life where I literally didn't recognize myself anymore. It wasn't me, and I had lost all sense of who I was. This was such a big part of me. And about 5 years ago, our daughter was diagnosed with autism when she was 2.5. And about 5 years ago, we sat her down and explained to her that she had autism, but a disability would never stop her from living her dream. And she could still do anything and pursue her dreams and really be anything. And, as I was telling her this, I realized that I wasn't doing the same thing with my life. I was letting my disability and my pain stop me from pursuing my dream, and fear of not being able to be the best that I could be because of my condition. And I realized at that moment that I really had to show her by example what it looked like to be following my dreams fearlessly. And that's what kickstarted my journey to get out there and sing. And I have not looked back ever since.
Oh, wow. It's a bit of an inspirational story, and good for you to sort of take your own advice and get back out there. What was your sort of first step when you decided that you were going to go and chase your dreams again? Where did you go? What was the first port of call?
Well, it was a terrifying situation, let me tell you. Having been out of it for so many years and just not knowing where to start, but just knowing I had this intense desire to get back out there. It's like I wanted to do everything at the same time and try to really get out there. And what happened was I started taking voice lessons because I wasn't able to move my mouth through the music. I was having a very difficult time getting certain sounds out. And even though I still had range, it wasn't a question of me not being able to hit notes. It was more like I was just having a lot of struggles. And, between being in chronic pain and just everything that was going on, it was really, really difficult. So I started taking singing lessons just to get out there. And I really saw it as therapy, really, getting out there and doing a weekly lesson just to have time dedicated to myself, to improve myself, and that I could measure my goals. And I can say every week I'm going, I think it was on Mondays from 7 to 7:30 or Mondays from 7 to 8, I would set that time aside for myself, which proved to be really invaluable because I really was investing in myself and rebuilding myself. And I was able to, with that, see results, and it inspired me to take the next step, which was to record songs and to go perform and to be able to write my own songs and perform my own songs. So all of that catapulted, every other step that took place thereafter. But it was all as a result of starting with investing in myself and really taking a chance on myself. And I'm so glad that I did it.
No, that's amazing. And now singing and performing your own songs that you've written in front of people, are you doing tours and stuff like that, or?
Well, it's actually quite interesting how things kind of come around sometimes, I was doing really well, and I was starting to do touring. I had learned how to play guitar. As you can see, there's guitars behind me.
Yeah.
I had taught myself how to play guitar so that I can accompany myself and play, and I was doing rather well. I actually received some awards last year and several nominations, so I was really at a high point in my career, and I was feeling very, very optimistic about touring and traveling. And unfortunately, in November, I was in a bad car accident, and all of this momentum that I had spent the last 5 years working on came to a grinding halt. And it was so unexpected, obviously I didn't plan for that to happen. But ironically, the song that I had released right before that happened was called Reason to Rise. And it spoke to my journey for the prior 14 years and how music and my daughter and both of those things fueled me and gave me breath and gave me life and gave me a reason to rise above the most difficult times in my life. So it was so funny that I just came out with this song talking about how I overcame all of that.
Yeah.
And then I recently...
The song you had just written sort of became your anthem and your inspiration to sort of go at it again and get back on the horse, so to speak.
Yes, and it was a little more difficult this time because it had different effects on my health, and it was a little bit more challenging, but I'm somebody who will not allow situations to get me down. Like, I'm an overcomer. I'm somebody who is constantly finding empowerment in difficult situations. And I just said, I have to write. I have to get back out there. I mean, realistically, I'm not ready to tour right now, in full force, but I'm still writing, and I'm excited to be performing soon. I'll be performing at the ISA Awards in Atlanta in August.
Right.
Hoping some local performances before I do that, just because I miss the songwriting community out here, which is so important, right? As an artist, it's so great to be able to connect with people in your milieu, people who understand what you're doing, even if they're within a little bit of a different genre. It's just amazing to connect with other artists and
absolutely
craft and to see them perform. It really is inspiring. So I do hope to be doing that very soon, and it's a very big part of me. It's part of my personality. It is my identity. It's who I am, and really taking adversity and overcoming it and turning those experiences into something beautiful is basically my trademark. So this too shall pass, and how long will it take? I don't know, but we were actually supposed to talk in November, and unfortunately I had to delay that because of my accident. But, I'm back now with a brand new single, and, I have a message to share. So
that's good. You mentioned, obviously, you do a lot of writing original songs and that. Have you ever performed any covers or supported another artist by singing their songs and doing a bit of promotion, or has anyone ever promoted your music in that way?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, I love doing covers. However, I always feel that the message I connect with is usually my message. The most that I connect with is my message. And when I do sing a cover song, I want it to be something that is really in line with me and my messaging, and something I would have written or said myself. I think it's very important to stay true to who you are as an artist. So I always make sure to carefully select the cover songs that I sing, and I want them to be, genuine when I'm singing them, because I mean what I sing when I'm singing, and I mean what I say when I'm speaking. So I always want to choose songs carefully. But I love to sing covers. I mean, there's some cover songs that I've sang forever, and they're part of my set list because they either bring me immense amount of joy or memories, or maybe they were songs that I sang when I was just starting out. They make me feel joyful, like Wagon Wheel. That song always makes me feel joyful. There's so many songs that I connect with that other people have written, and it's a gift when you can hear a song that somebody else wrote and you can interpret it as if you've had that experience yourself, and really feel like, even though obviously somebody else wrote it, you find yourself in that song. And I like those experiences because it's just a different interpretation of a similar situation. But as for anybody else giving me their music, I have been asked to sing and record other people's music. I haven't had the opportunity to do that yet because a lot of those opportunities were overseas, and the planning and the logistics of it was just a little tricky at the time. But I'm hoping to be able to do that. That would be really cool.
And you're saying that you like to sort of network locally and go and listen to people in your genre play and stuff. And is there anybody that you sort of draw inspiration from when it comes to writing your own songs and stuff?
I can draw inspiration from anywhere, and it could be any genre, it could be any person, it could be any style, it could be in the most obscure places. I mean, I think that when you see something that inspires you and it makes you want to be better, or it makes you want to replicate a feeling, not copy a style, but maybe replicate a feeling, like a feeling of freedom, or a feeling of joy, those things are very inspiring. And I often see those opportunities when I'm out. But one of the things and people that I draw the most inspiration from is my daughter. And she inspires me to no end. And I think that every time I feel like, I look at my daughter and I say, she gives me such an incredible source of inspiration, and it just never ends. It never stops. It's a continuous thing. And it's just one of those things that I'm so grateful to have.
Oh, that's beautiful. And
Thank you.
you're in New York. Is there a big country scene in New York? Like, I know sort of Nashville's the country capital of the US and stuff, but is it big in New York as well?
Well, it's funny you say that, because they just opened a Boot Barn in Long Island, which is, it's funny because it's like a big chain store, like a country chain store that they've just opened here locally. But, it's not as big as I would have liked. It'd be awesome if there was a bigger appetite for country music. But I think the true country music lovers are everywhere, and they're very loyal to the music. So I think it's just a matter of uncovering those people and connecting with those people. There's a lot of folk. There's a lot of singer-songwriter scene here. There's a lot of folk scene here, which is really beautiful as well.
Of course, I suppose with a city with that many people, you're going to meet at least a few people that are into country music and stuff, and sort of create that community there.
Yeah, I think there's a big pop scene for sure. It's very big for pop, I think, is very, very prominent. But country is definitely growing. I think there's a demand for it. There's something about country music that people can connect with, and I think that it's a gift, really. It's like to hear a song and feel like, wow, I've gone through something like that, or wow, that's something that I've experienced, and it's a deep message, and it's in a song. It's beautiful.
Yeah, right. And your latest single, I believe, is Sticks and Stones?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about this.
Thank you. Well, thank you for asking about it. I'm very proud of the song. This song speaks to me, an experience I had with somebody, a negative relationship, and it really speaks to me taking a positive stance against the negative effects of gaslighting. Flipping the narrative, person who was being extremely toxic and negative toward me, and taking that experience and turning it not only into something empowering, but something beautiful and positive. So I'm very proud of the song. I think that so many of us can relate to this message, and what I'm hearing from fans and listeners is that they've gone through something almost identical to this, what I've written in the song. And they're like, oh my God, like verbatim, like I've gone through this. And in a way, it's comforting to know that other people can relate. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, I'm sorry you had to go through that. But
yeah, right. It's sort of a bittersweet moment knowing that you've connected with somebody, but it had to be under those sort of circumstances, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we've all had those experiences. I mean, it could be with a significant other, a friend, a sibling, a boss, a work relationship. We always have encounters with these people that sometimes try to make us feel less than when we question how we're being treated, and they flip it into something really toxic. And I think sometimes just taking a positive attitude toward it and not engaging, like, there's an old proverb that says, like, don't argue with a fool.
Yep.
And sometimes there's a strong desire to want to do that because it's validating to be like, oh yeah, but really at the end of the day, you can't argue with a fool. And sometimes the best thing you could do is be silent and walk away and just say, my silence spoke way louder than anything that you're saying about me or trying to tear me down.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
You've really got to think about what you have to gain from the situation.
I think so. And I have a teenage daughter, and I tried to tell her that as well. And it's like, when somebody is really mean to you and talking about you and saying horrible things, you going back and saying, oh yeah, it doesn't make anything better. It doesn't, just because you're able to one up them on how bad the situation is, you're not improving the situation, and you're not getting anything out of it. And sometimes just walking away and letting it play itself out is really the best thing to do. And I think that, I'm very proud of the song. I'm proud that people are connecting with it. I'm also really proud of the actual song itself. I did record that song over the last few months, And it was a very difficult to get to the point to be in the studio and be able to record that song. I mean, there was a mad amount of energy on that song. And, you know, the physical state that I was in when I was recording that song was not ideal, let's just say. However, there is something incredibly cathartic and healing about music, right? And recording a song like that, telling a story and taking power and just really claiming positivity like that is empowering, and it's healing, and it does its own magic, let's just say, you know, the healing process. So it's incredible.
Absolutely.
It was an incredible experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sort of getting yourself out there and getting your message out there and sort of being heard, and then getting that sort of knowing that you're connecting with people and that they're understanding what you're saying should be sort of very reaffirming for you, you know, so.
Definitely. And, you know, the song is doing really well, and I'm really, really proud of it. I'm very happy with it. And as a songwriter, I just love when I put out some of my biggest pain and it comes out to being something positive and empowering. And it helps lift me up. It helps lift other people up. And it's just a great feeling.
And is there any advice you would give for young ladies that are looking to get into the country music scene?
You know, I don't know that it's particular into the country music scene, but in general, I think being true to yourself is the key. Really, I mean, don't try to be anybody else or like anybody else. Don't try to imitate anybody else's success. Find what makes you unique in you and just be true to yourself, because that will stand the test of time, right? And it doesn't change because trends change and fashions change. If you're just uniquely you and you embrace who you are, I think that is an incredible thing, and people connect with that. And there's, even though it's an industry that's heavily based, you know, on looks and age and all that stuff, I think when you open yourself up and you're genuine, people are attracted to that. And I think that you're able to connect. So I think that being unabashedly you is really the best thing to do.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of artists that transition from, say, country music to pop or other genres. Is there any other genres aside from country music that you particularly get into and that you might perform or one day maybe make a small album or even a single in?
You know, it's funny you ask, because I think sometimes I'm all over the place. I mean, I love country. My heart is in country music. Country pop is basically where I'm classified. I love a good rock song. I love a good soul song, country soul, like something like more soul or something a little bit more, you know, rocky and up tempo. I love those kinds of songs. I'm a sucker for a ballad. I think when it comes down to it, when I'm singing a song, I'm looking for the best way to tell the story. And most of the time that will be in pop country or country pop or something along that area. And maybe other times like something like Eye of the Storm. It's a little bit more edgy and it's a little bit more bluesy rock, country rocky, you know. And I think it's important when you're telling a story to be able to tell it in the best possible way. And I'm open to those other elements in my music. And I don't necessarily want to be confined by a genre, but by a feeling. I want to be able to communicate the music in the best possible way possible. And I think every element on the song, whether it's like the percussion or the strings or whatever it is creating an atmosphere. And when I'm doing that and I'm working with my producer, I'm working very hard to tell a story. And I just want it to come across in the best vein absolutely possible. So sometimes it will cross a little bit of genre. Like I said, Eye of the Storm is a little bit more bluesy country and a little bit more edgy, and something like Too Pretty to Be Home is more poppy because it's a more fun and up-tempo song, and it's a song just about having a good time. So I think that it really depends on the message that I'm singing, the story that I'm telling, and how I want it to come across to the listener.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose as long as you're being true to yourself, if you sort of slip genres a little bit, it doesn't really matter. As long as you're getting your message across in the way you want to deliver it, then happy days.
I think a lot of people are crossing genres nowadays. You know, I think it used to be more confined, like you were locked into a genre and you were expected to only perform within your genre. But I think people now have tolerance to cross genre. I mean, like, look at Taylor Swift, you know, pop, country, you know, pop. And there are people that do, they do like Christian and gospel, and they do pop, or, you know, rock music that does rap, or country that has hip hop. So I think there's appetite for people to do those cross genres. And I think that it keeps it interesting. And I think that as long as you're being, like I said earlier, as long as you're being true to what you stand for and you believe in, I think it'll be very well received.
Yeah, right. And just speaking about some of the other artists, if you could do a collaboration with any other artist, who would be at the top of your wish list?
Do I have to pick just one?
You could name a couple if you like, or even like producers and stuff
really
like
good.
that.
That's really good. Okay, so my favorite two right now would have to be Chris Stapleton and Luke Combs.
Right.
And they're both within the country genre, but they're very different. You know, I feel like one's really soulful, and, you know, I think that I would do really well working with either of them. I love both of them, like, tremendously. Darius Rucker, oh my God. That would be incredible.
Darius Rucker. I think I know, is Luke Holmes the one that just done the cover of Tracy Chapman's Fast Cars?
That's Luke Holmes, yeah.
Yeah,
I love
right. Yeah, he's got a really good voice. Yeah, that's even making its way down here to Australia. So, he's awesome.
Let me tell you, every single note he sings, I feel it. I get like, I can just imagine him singing it. It's just so incredible. And I really feel like that he's really done an amazing job, you know, really defining who he is as an artist and really connecting with people.
Yeah, right. And the sort of country genre, do you think it's sort of growing? Do you think more people are becoming aware of it, with it sort of becoming more prominent in the charts, I suppose, with, like Old Town Road and stuff like that, and tracks like that?
Yeah, I do. I do think that there's a lot of cross genres and a lot of artists that are very well known now that have started in pop or done collaborations, pop and country, like Maren Morris. She did like a very, very famous pop country collaboration with The Middle. Kelsey Ballerini. I think a lot of artists have done like cross genres, and I think it's really opened like pop listeners up to the idea of country music. So I think there's old school country, right? There's like 90s country and old school country, which is very, you know, country. And then you have the more modern, which has elements of like hip hop and pop. And I think that there's less of a transition from that to pop than there was like in the 90s, where it was hardcore country. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity. You have a lot of pop singers who do country collabs and sing along the country genre in the line of country. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of, like, look at Jelly Roll, and there's another, oh my gosh, what was the other artist's name? I'm trying to think of his name, that he was a pop singer, and now he's doing country.
Right.
And I'm like, that's really, yeah, I think that it's an opportunity to inspire people to listen to country. You know, it's where my heart's at, so.
And just talking about sort of the new genre crossing and stuff like that, and sort of new age country, is there a set pathway that you need to follow to sort of get to the Country Music Awards? Is that like through Nashville, or can you sort of be someone that's producing songs in New York and get a mention at the sort of Country Music Awards and stuff like that?
Well, that's a really good question, and I'm not sure that I have the answer for that. However, I will say that throughout this journey, I have repeatedly been told that, you know, country is out of Nashville, and if you're not out of Nashville, it's not country. Having said that, I have seen some incredible country artists that have made it onto charts and received like worldwide awards from Canada, the UK, and Australia. So I don't know that it's defined to a geographic location, but to a feeling. I think there's always a tendency to, you know, be accepted into the club. If you're in the area, obviously that's where the hot pocket of country is, definitely in Nashville or Texas, but I think that you can be an incredible country artist from anywhere. I mean, I was nominated for several country music awards over the last couple of years, and I am again this year. I'm nominated for Best Female Country Vocalist in Modern Country for the Josie Music Awards. And, you know, I'm from Canada and I live in New York. So, and the awards are going to be at the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. So I think that you just do what's important to you, and you do what you can the best way possible, and you hope that it resonates with people, and, you know, you'll find your audience. And as far as being accepted in Nashville, I think everybody kind of goes to Nashville. Not everybody in Nashville is from Nashville. So I think that everybody migrates there because that's the epicenter of country.
That's where they think they need to go. But, you're just saying you're from Canada as well, Montreal, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, right. I know Montreal from the Comedy Festival. I'm sure they do a comedy fest there every year, Montreal Comedy Fest. Is there much of a country scene in Montreal?
You know, when I was living there, there wasn't. It was not a very big thing. But lately, in Canada is hopping with country music, you know, especially out west, you know, Edmonton, Vancouver, and like Saskatoon. Like, I think there's a lot of country music there right now, and it's amazing. So,
good stuff. You're a bit of a trendsetter.
Yeah.
And where's
I'm always ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah, all over it. Where's the best place for people to keep up with you and everything that's going on when you're bringing out new tracks and stuff?
You can head over to my website, which is RobbieHarte.com. That's RobbieHarte.com. Or you can visit any of my social medias, which are at Robbie Harte Official, and my YouTube channel, which is Robbie Harte Official. And you'll have links to all of my streaming and what's going on. And if you have listened to any of my songs and you want to connect with me and let me know what you think, go ahead and send me a message and let me know what song you connected with and why.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much, Robbie, for being on The Late Show with IPL Radio. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I wish you all the best in your country career, and I believe there's plenty of good things coming your way.
Thank you so much. I thank you so much for having me on today. It was wonderful speaking with you, or tonight. It was wonderful speaking with you.
Not a problem at all. Thanks very much. Wish you all the best. All right.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. We'll wrap this up.
All right, cool. All right,
just you hit the end on the Zoom thing, and yep, we're good.
Thank you very much. It was great chatting with you. I hope you could hear me. I couldn't hear you sometimes. I was like leaning in a little bit, so I hope you were able to hear me okay.
Yeah, no, we heard you just fine. That was perfect. You've done great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Have a great day, everyone.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.